play Viticulture with the Tuscany expansion.
Yay!
This is actually the Kickstarter version in 2014. It's a limited edition. There are only 3,700.
Yes, 3,700 wine crate edition.
Yep. So it's got.
So not to brag, but you know they got
It's
the
pretty
wine
cool.
crate.
Somebody's just bitter because he didn't get one.
Yeah, I didn't get one. And it's only my very favorite worker placement game.
Yeah. So let's talk about the pieces. As in, there's a bunch of wooden buildings, meeples, stars, bunch of wooden pieces to go throughout the course
Plus
of the
beads.
game. Plus glass beads for your wine tokens and your grapes.
Metal money.
Metal money. Did metal money come standard?
Yes.
Oh, it comes standard. That's great. And then we even got cows for the cheese factory.
Well, it came with the Kickstarter. They have cardboard tokens as well for the retail, but
Okay.
with the version you guys got.
Yeah. Then, and then cards, bunch of different cards from different seasons. We ended up sleeving most of ours because of how much we play this. We still have not sleeved the building things yet.
I can't find sleeves that size. I haven't got around to finding sleeves that size.
But card quality is actually pretty good. It's pretty good thick size card, although there's no texture to them. But thickness, the stock of the card quality is pretty good.
Yeah. So overall, what would you guys give a score for this as far as quality?
So overall, my opinion may be biased because again, this is my number 2 favorite all-time game, number 1 favorite worker placement game. So as far as quality of components, I mean, you got all the special workers, which are great because they each have different painted aspects to the mini that tells you what worker they are. It was the merchant, not the butcher. And then you got cards that match it. Again, it was the merchant. And then you got all the shapes of the different workers that you got. For me, it's a 10. It's a beautiful game.
I love the fact that the metal tokens are included as base game. I think that's awesome. I do think they have a lot of wooden meeples. I think everything is pretty excellent. I don't think I'd give it a 10 because there's nothing that's like screams top notch. I think everything's adequate and the metal coins are really great. So I'm going to give this an 8.5. You wouldn't twist my arm to get me a 9 either. Like I would be like, all right, if you insist on a 9, I'll give it to you.
And another thing to maybe twist your arm is remember when this came out. This was not the norm when this came out.
Yeah,
As
but we're
far as
judging it on to like today's
As
standards.
far as quality components. How can you compare it to today when it didn't come out today?
Okay, Randy.
So, I think the crate is amazing.
It is.
Oh, we
amazing.
didn't mention that, did we?
Do you have one of these, Ron?
No, I don't, Randy.
Okay.
I don't.
So, when I got this, this is probably at the time the Kickstarter that I think was the best Kickstarter I backed.
Yeah.
I think there's been since ones that I've preferred, but this one was definitely among the most unique, certainly. As far as the quality of components, I think, there's theme and there's quality. The art on it is theme, so I'm not going to count that in this. All the pieces are wooden shaped meeples, but you get that pretty much anywhere. So there's nothing, they're shaped distinctly, though. There is a lot of distinct shapes. The screen printed on those is a nice touch, but I think they should have done that across the board, honestly. But then I guess you wouldn't be able to differentiate those unique pieces, so I can understand why they didn't. Coins are really nice. I like
Coins
the
are
coins
really
a lot.
nice.
These add a lot. The cards are pretty decent as far as the quality, but they don't have texture. So,
And you have cow tokens.
well, the cows could have been nicer though.
The cows.
Yeah, but give it a score though.
The Stonemaier makes those really nice pieces now.
But they didn't then.
Exactly, that's the problem. It's when I'm thinking Stonemaier today, this is not the Stonemaier of today.
Right, but they built up to that. They've always been known for their high quality components.
Oh yeah, I
this
agree.
game is definitely part of that. It's what gave them the base.
It's if I was writing this in 2014, I probably would have given it a 10.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I'm not going to do that. I'm probably going to go along with more like what you were thinking, an 8.5.
Evens.
I mean, I do think it's very valid, especially when you talk about older games. How do they hold up to time? And if you talk about quality
Well, this
pieces,
isn't hugely older. I mean, it's only 6 years.
Well,
But
I mean,
it's 6 years. There's been a
but
lot
I'm
of
talking
change
about
for
varying
Stonemaier.
it for
Yeah.
the quality. So moving on to theme, we kind of actually didn't cover this in the intro. Theme-wise, basically, you're a farmer and you're trying to produce grapes, then to make wine out of those grapes and to complete orders, and in the end, obviously get more victory points in doing that. So the Tuscany expansion does add making
A
cheese.
whole lot more stuff.
Yes. So making cheese, having fruit available to sell.
Structures.
You have the structures.
Mamas
I-
and the Papas
Mamas
for
and
starting
Papas,
resources.
The best board in the game. We'll talk about that in gameplay, but Tuscany is very important.
Yeah. So theme-wise, though, all of that is, well, the game is enriched in the theme.
Mhm.
I mean, you have a farm, you have spring, summer, fall. You do different actions during the different seasons, and all of those make sense. Theme-wise, I think spot on. What do you guys think?
Oh,
Is that
absolutely.
a rating?
Well, you guys
Okay.
give your rating. I was just giving my
Okay.
opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's, if you're into winemaking, then it's a very appealing theme. I'm personally not into winemaking, and I try to, when I play the game, I actually go out of my way to try to avoid the
Except for
winemaking.
the 2 times that he wins the game.
I think
mean,
you should
2
stick.
bottles of wine the entire game.
Well, I think you should just not make any bottles of wine.
1 bottle of wine got him 8 points alone. So don't
I
waste time.
minimize I'm very efficient scorer. But as far as, I mean, I like the way the game functions,
And the
but a lot
art's
more than the
beautiful.
theme. It's beautiful art. I'll give you the art, and that's why the theme I'll rate it as high as I do. But I'm not going to go. It doesn't do gangbusters theme for me.
So give it a score.
I'm going to give this probably a 9 as far as theme goes. It encapsulates the theme and takes it into the functionality of the game. That's why I think it's a 9. It's just not an appealing theme to me.
Okay.
I'm not into wine either. And so as far as the actual theme itself, as far as winemaking, no, I really don't care. But the game does such a good job of encapsulating that theme, and the mechanics all work towards that theme. It's really, I don't call mini games this, but it's an elegant game.
It really
And
is.
because of that elegance and how everything works and so cohesive, it's a 10. There's not many games that really just get me excited to play.
Yeah, I mean,
like this game.
Yeah,
does.
the fact that is that you have a mama, you have a papa, like you have an actual family that owns the farm. There's so many nuances that they add into this game. It truly is a fantastic.
But only if with Tuscany.
Right, yeah.
If you just were playing base viticulture, all of
Okay,
that
we're
would
not
be it.
rating base viticulture.
I understand.
We are rating viticulture with Tuscany, and with viticulture with Tuscany, I think I would agree to a 10 for theme for this. I couldn't imagine them doing anything better. Again, I've never had a sip of alcohol in my life. I just pretend it's sparkling cider and call it a day.
There you go.
So, moving on to rules. It's been a long time since we read the rules.
Yeah, I mean, they're written really nicely. For as complex of a game as this is, they get the rules for the base game done in 12 pages, which one is a cover. I mean, it's a cover that's all text, so it's not like it's wasting on art space. It's very, very concise and compact. But it's not hard to read and understand.
And another nice part of the rules is that they give you player aids too. So
yeah.
Combination of the player aids in the rule book, there's plenty of information to go around in case you know.
And the iconography is pretty straightforward as far as the game board. So you don't really, once you've learned it, you don't really need to go back to the rules a lot. Tuscany, on the other hand, is actually a component-based system, so you're playing different pieces of it.
And I think it's one of the first games to implement that concept where it wasn't just one expansion. It's got like 8 mini expansions.
Well, Battlestar did it before that.
Right, but I'm just saying there's
But,
not
yeah.
many that did it. And so, in the way that they did it, it's just really neat. You open up the box and it's actually compartments. So I can do this expansion and none of the others, or I can do this one, or I can combine them. And it's just really cool how they did that.
Yeah, they did break it out very nicely, and I'll give them credit. That's way better than what Battlestar did, as far as it's all in the box, and you got to separate it yourself. This one had sections
Yeah.
for everything in the box, which was nice.
So give it a score.
I'm going to go ahead and give these a 9
Okay.
as far as the rules go. I think they're fairly easy to read and understand. You know, and you can add them at your leisure with Tuscany, which is nice. I mean, you don't feel like the game's empty if you don't play with all of it.
Yeah.
I agree with the 9. The reason why I don't go any higher is because the font is small, so it can be kind of hard to read at times.
Mhm.
So I have to take my glasses off to be able to see it well instead of wearing them. So that's the only reason I give it.
Okay. All right. So moving on to gameplay. This gameplay is a classic worker placement, but the interesting mechanic within it is that there are different seasons. So you only have a set amount of workers for the whole entire year, and so you only get to play season by season with everybody else. And if you use your workers at the very beginning of the round, the second half of the game or the second half of the round, you don't do anything. So this game really taught me like strategy with timing. This is the first game that I remember playing that had that mechanism in it. You see that a little bit more in the games now, but I'm pretty sure at the time that this came out, I'm pretty sure that was new and different and very interesting. It's still a little bit new and different with some of the games we play.
So one of the really, besides all the extra expansions that we kind of mentioned, the Mamas and Papas, which gives you more asynchronous starting abilities, which is really nice. And the special workers, which allows you to train to get special abilities when you use those. One of the key things that I really like mechanic-wise that Tuscany introduced was when you're done for the whole year and you pass, you actually got to remove all your workers off the board. And then that opens up spots for other people that didn't pass that particular season. So I really like that concept, and I think that was pretty fresh when they introduced that.
Yeah. I do want to point out that they do have an app, just a Viticulture app. And when I went to play Viticulture on the app,
It's just the original base game.
I was a little shocked.
Yes,
I'm not going to lie.
It's very dry.
It's very basic compared to Tuscany.
So I will say if you do get this game, you do have to get Tuscany.
I agree, but when I teach the game to people who've never played it before, I do teach just the base game because there are a lot of components to the game. And so especially if they're not used to a worker placement game, because just with the card interaction alone, there's a lot of stuff that can go on. So there's a lot of strategy in just the base game, but really a play or two, you got it down pat. And then it's just really easy to implement Tuscany and learn those elements.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could say I did not like this game when it was Viticulture by itself very much.
I remember that. I remember because I wanted to play it, and Randy was like, kind of ho-hum about it. But then when I got my copy and was learning to play Tuscany and really liked it, I don't know if that's by the time you started getting
I got
it
mine
as well.
with
Well, I
the
know,
Kickstarter when it first came out.
But I know for years there was a while you had it, but you still weren't very gung ho to play it.
Yeah, I mean it was dry because
Still
we
not
tried to.
gung ho to play it.
It's not one of my favorites, that's for sure. But as far as I respect what it is, and the base game was really the reason I didn't want to try, because when we got it, we learned the base game first, and I'm like, there's no way the expansion's going to add enough to this to make it interesting.
It does.
It does. It changes the game dramatically, mostly because of this map area. Because this is an area control aspect that was added that didn't exist in the game before.
You love that.
I love that.
I know. I think the map and the structures add so much to this game.
Yeah, because the problem I had with it is there was one path to victory. I don't like games where there's one path to victory. This changed it because now there's another path to victory, and there were more paths to victory in the cards. They improved the cards. Because before it was you made wine and that was it.
Right.
You made your wine, you sold your wine, and that's how you got victory points.
And we need to mention too, there were 2 other expansions that they did off to the side as little mini expansions that were just added to the visitor cards. So you got more visitors, and then there was the second one that I can't remember. But this is all those cards included, and so it introduced like advanced level, like they have a certain type of character. Well, more visitors or like alternate versions of those, and then there's advanced versions of those that we added.
Yeah, so lots of cool things. Let's give it a rating.
10.
How did I know
I
that?
thought really hard about it, and I searched my soul and really looked in my heart. 10.
Oh, whatever.
I'm pretty
10.
sure there's not a 10 in that soul.
Ouch!
That was rude.
That was a little rough, man.
What would
Am
you
I
score?
next or you?
Yeah, you
Okay.
are.
As far as I like aspects, I like the fact that I win at this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, as far as the gameplay, it still feels dry. I mean, it's not my favorite worker placement by any means. It's a good game, and I respect all that they've done with it, and it does look beautiful. I'm going to give this one probably more like an 8.5. It's not, again, one of my favorites, and it's not something that, if I have my druthers, it's not something I'm going to pick as a first choice. But I don't mind playing it when we do pick it.
Yeah, I will say when I first learned this game, I absolutely loved it. Like, I would be where you're at, 10, top notch. But the more I play it, the more dry it becomes. Because I guess the other options that are out there, so I'm going to give it a 9. I'm going to be in the middle of the fence with you guys on this. Because this is an amazing game. It's fantastic. I do think it can get a little long, and I think that's maybe where it gets a little bit of dryness.
I think it's long if you got people that
Don't
play
play
it, don't play it, don't understand it real well. So if they're kind of learning the game, yeah, it can take a while. And there is room for AP in this game. So if you suffer from AP, you might try and do a little bit of the solo aspect, which I want to talk about for just a second. I believe it was this game that was the first game from Stonemaier Games that introduced the Automata, which is one of the most well-known solo ways of playing a game. And so it introduced that, and it is so much fun to play it solo. Because what it does is it teaches you how to play the game quickly. Because if you don't do it within a certain amount of rounds, you're going to lose every single time. So it forces you to learn speed. And it's such a cool way of playing the game.
Yeah, I haven't played it, so
I highly recommend it. The Automata is really cool.
Yeah. Any other closing thoughts before we say goodnight to our folks?
It's a 10.
I have this box.
But here's my thing. But it's not in your top favorite.
Well, it doesn't mean I don't want the best quality game of it.
Or poke
Or to be able to poke the bear.
Yeah, poke me about it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, you don't have.
You guys. Shame.
And when I finally do, he gets it too. So he's a jerk.
There's a competition if you guys hadn't noticed. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We greatly appreciate you hanging out with us. Hopefully you'd like to hang out with us again. If you do, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. We'd love to have you. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.